Well, good Saturday afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Martin's Koi Pond. Now, a box like this can only mean one thing. I went to the koi dealers for some medicine and I also bought a fish. Having said I weren't having any more fish, this is going to have to be the last one. Now, get out of there, Milo. It is a Geronimo two-step, really nice fish. Don't want the dog spooking it too much. Looking at it, it's certainly 30 plus cm. So just letting it, there's some pond water in the bucket, just letting it acclimate because it was indoors. And then I'll open the bag and we'll have a proper look at it. Right, here he is. And looks like he's measuring at about 35 cms. I think I'm going to call him Geronimo. Geronimo the Geronimo. Milo's very interested in him. But, looking rather nice. Totally different to anything else I've got. I actually went up there because they put on Facebook some really nice Benica Camroyo. I can't pronounce that properly. That were 20 to 25 cm, two for £120. But I just thought I'd have a look at what they'd got in one of the bigger tanks, and fell in love with this guy straight away. There was a nice Sankey in there as well that was actually slightly bigger than this guy for the same money that I thought about, but I've got a Sankey, I haven't got a Geronimo, so this is what I bought. He's got lovely blue eyes by the look of him. Quite calm in the bowl, so I'll get my sock and get him into the pond. So welcome back, Saturday afternoon, and the new Geronimo is feeding. He's just there, look. Probably the third biggest fish in the pond. He's just splodged the Sankey and Vader, the shoe sweet, that are bigger. So yeah, he's doing really well. Really happy with him. He's feeding away there now, look. It's lovely when you get a new fish and it settles in so quickly, especially when you paid a lot of money for it. Right, that being said, catch you in the next bit. Well, good Sunday afternoon, and welcome back to Martin's Koi Pond with me, Martin, and Milo the Labrador. Milo. Right, so we added a new fish yesterday, naughty Martin. But it is doing absolutely fabulous. It's just there at the minute. It's gone behind that rock. So it's Geronimo the Geronimo, or Geronimo, however you pronounce it. There he comes. Absolutely gorgeous. May have catapulted himself into #1 in my favouritism books, even past Harriet the Harawaki, which will take some doing because I absolutely love Harriet the Harawaki. But yeah, the new fish, you'd think he'd been in here weeks. He's feeding off the bottom, totally relaxed and doing great. See him down there at the minute. they've all been feeding on the bottom today, so I think there's some sort of insect larva that they're munching on. But it's a glorious day. There's hardly a cloud in the sky, and I've fed a bit of food today, but it has all been wheat germ. It's been a mixture of surface and sinking wheat germ. Not seen hiding the hair of the little golden tench that also went in yesterday, but I don't expect to see much of them. But I am feeding some micro 1mm pellet that's sinking in that corner where the pumps are, which is where they're likely to be hiding. So I shall put that in once a day, every day, just to ensure that they're getting something. So, one last look at Geronimo, the Gorimo. He's next to Splodge, the big Sankey. I reckon the Gorimo's the third biggest fish in the pond. So straight in at number 3. Just the Sankey and Vader the Sushui who are bigger, I think. But, very, very happy with him. Right, catch you in the next clip. Well, good Saturday morning, and weather-wise, not so good. I don't know what's all the fuss about global warming, but this April has been global cooling. It's really quite chilly again today. Doing a water change on the main fish tank at the minute, and just sat observing the koi while water's siphoning out of the fish tank, and reading through some of the comments from yesterday's video, which sort of divided people a little bit, but the general consensus is A, koi scratch from time to time, B, it's most likely something in my water if it's not parasites, and C, to hold back on the chemical treatment as a last resort. So I'll take all that on board and carry on and sort of sit on my hands, so to speak, and just try and do my best by them. Now, what I've done to combat the water issue is the dechlorinator. It's just sat there by the barrel. I've ordered 3 brand new carbon blocks to go in, so it'll have the 2 existing carbon blocks and then 3 more carbon blocks, so it'll give it 5 carbon blocks and a pre-filter. Now bear in mind that will be after the water's gone through the RO device, and then on top of that I've ordered 1 kilo of sodium thiosulfate, because I'm just getting through a boatload of liquid dechlorinator, which, as we all know, is pretty expensive stuff. And I'm going to try the sodium thiosulfate, because that also breaks down chloramines as well as chlorine. Anglian Water claim there's no chloramines in the water, but our chlorine levels are quite high. I think it's 0.8 parts per million. Now, apparently 0.05 parts per million is toxic to koi and affects their gills. So it doesn't take a lot of chlorine to get through to upset the fish. And it would appear some fish are more sensitive than others, because in my tanks these days I get very little flashing from any of the fish except for a couple of my little cichlids. they sometimes will flash. But the big cichlids and the arowana, never see them flash. So I just think koi are sensitive to something in the water. Now, bearing in mind the water that's coming out of the dechlorinator and RO water is basically just dead water. Remember, I have crushed oyster shell to buffer the pH and KH up, and it's actually a couple of weeks since I did any tests, so I'm not going to bore you with doing those tests, but I might come back to you if any of the results are out of whack. I mean, last time they were absolutely spot on perfect. So there's the big Geronimo in the middle there by the Shusui. Absolutely loving that addition to the pond. He's been in a week now and feeds so well. Now he's a fish that I never see flash, so he seems pretty happy with the water. And you see the Shusui there was just doing it. Anyway, rambled on for 5 minutes. Catch you in the next clip. Well, welcome back. It's still Saturday morning. I've just done my water tests and they were pretty great, to be honest. pH is 7.5. KH was 6 and the GH was 11. There's no ammonia. There's a trace of nitrite, but only a trace, and the nitrate is somewhere between 0 and 10 parts per million, so the nitrate isn't a problem. So in terms of those water parameters, my water is absolutely spot on and perfect. So it's not that's making the fish flash. So I'm going to try and, like I said, sit on my hands, not worry about seeing the odd fish flick over, and just keep an eye on them all, really. And unless there's any unusual behaviour, I won't be getting any out for a scrape. Right, with that said, that's probably the end of this week's video. Catch you in the next one.